What if your body could regenerate time itself? What if the clock inside you could rewind, slow down, or renew its rhythm without any pills, creams, or surgery? It sounds impossible, almost like science fiction, but it's not. There's a hidden technique that might allow your body to experience time differently, a method that begins not in the lab but in your mind. Today, we're diving into one of the most mysterious corners of science and consciousness, the work of Jacobo Grinberg. He was a Mexican neuroscientist and psychologist who spent his life studying the nature of the human mind and its connection to reality. But Grinberg didn't just study the brain. He tried to understand the invisible fabric that connects everything. His theory suggested that there's a hidden field behind space and time itself, a kind of holographic matrix that our consciousness interacts with. Imagine that reality isn't solid, but more like a living ocean of information. And your mind, your brain, is like a receiver that shapes what you experience from that ocean. According to Grinberg, this matrix is where time, space, and matter all originate. When you change how your consciousness interacts with this field, you can change how your body experiences time. That's the foundation of the hidden technique we're exploring today. The idea that time isn't fixed, and that your body can actually regenerate it from within. In this video, you'll learn what it really means to regenerate time inside your body. We'll break it down step by step, how your body's inner sense of time works, how it connects with consciousness, and how certain mental states can actually influence the biological rhythm of your cells. You'll also hear about the little-known experiments that inspired Grinberg's ideas, where synchronized brain activity between people seemed to defy normal space and time. You'll discover why Grinberg believed that when your attention becomes perfectly still, when your mind stops racing between past and future, something extraordinary happens. Your body begins to synchronize with the deeper field of reality. In that state, you're not wasting energy reliving the past or rushing toward the future. Your body starts to renew itself in the present moment. Time, as you experience it, starts to stretch, expand, and regenerate. But here's what makes this truly fascinating. Most people never access this naturally. We live in constant tension, constantly reacting, constantly running from one moment to the next. Our bodies absorb the weight of unfinished memories and future worries. The technique you're about to discover helps you release that internal tension, so your body's own time can begin to heal. By the end of this video, you'll know how to begin this process yourself. You'll understand the science, the mystery, and the simple practice that allows your body's internal clock to slow down, renew, and regenerate from within. So stay with me until the end, because this isn't just another video about mindfulness or meditation. This is about reshaping your relationship with time itself, about discovering how your consciousness can alter the rhythm of your life. Welcome to Awakened Synchronicity. If you're ready to explore the hidden power within you, subscribe now and join us on this journey into the mind of Jacobo Grinberg and the mystery of the time that lives inside your body. Before we talk about the hidden technique itself, we need to understand what it really means to regenerate time inside your body. This isn't about reversing your physical age or magically turning back the clock. It's not about defying biology or stopping wrinkles from forming. What we're talking about is something far deeper, something that happens in the way your body experiences time. Your body doesn't measure time like a clock on the wall. It feels time through rhythm, through the beating of your heart, the pace of your breath, the cycles of sleep and wakefulness, the way energy flows through you each day. Over years, those rhythms can become disturbed by stress, trauma, and constant mental noise. You may not notice it, but when your mind is always chasing the future or replaying the past, your body feels it too. It tightens, it tires, it forgets how to rest. Time, in a sense, starts to accumulate inside you, like dust that settles and slows everything down. Jacobo Grinberg believed that this internal sense of time was deeply connected to consciousness. He suggested that time isn't something that just happens to us, it's something our consciousness helps create. According to his theory, the mind doesn't simply observe time, it shapes how time is felt and stored within the body. This means that when your consciousness changes, your body's relationship with time changes too. Think about moments when you've lost track of time completely. Listening to music, walking in nature, or being deeply absorbed in something you love. In those moments, your sense of time dissolves. Minutes feel like hours, or hours feel like minutes. Your body relaxes, your energy feels renewed, and something inside you resets. That's a glimpse of what regenerating time inside your body feels like. Now imagine being able to enter that state intentionally, not by accident but through awareness. When you quiet your thoughts and bring your attention fully into the present, something subtle begins to shift. Your nervous system slows down, your heart rate steadies, the constant stream of mental noise that keeps your body trapped in fight or flight begins to fade. In that space of inner stillness, your cells, your breath, even your perception of time start to realign. Grinberg described consciousness as an interaction between the brain and a universal field of information, the pre-space matrix. He believed that this field holds the blueprint for everything, including the rhythms of time that govern our bodies. When your mind is chaotic, your link to that field becomes distorted. But when you enter a state of coherence, when mind, body, and awareness move together, you reconnect with that original pattern. The body then receives information not from stress or fear, but from harmony. In this harmony, time inside you begins to renew. You can think of it like tuning a musical instrument. Over time, tension pulls the strings out of tune. The melody becomes rough, the vibration uneven. But when you pause, breathe, and retune, the sound becomes clear again. The instrument didn't change, you simply restored its natural rhythm. Regenerating time inside your body works in a similar way. You're not changing the years you've lived, you're changing the vibration through which you experience those years. When this happens, you may feel lighter, clearer, even younger. Not because you've reversed the physical process of aging, but because your body is no longer carrying the emotional and energetic weight of time gone by. Your cells respond differently to calm attention. Your immune system, your metabolism, your sleep, all of them influenced by your internal state. In other words, when you shift your consciousness, your biology follows. So when we talk about regenerating time inside the body, we're really talking about freeing yourself from the heavy gravity of unprocessed time, the stress, the memories, the constant push of what's next. It's about creating space for renewal by restoring presence. The moment you stop fighting against time and start harmonizing with it, your body begins to regenerate the feeling of timelessness, the natural flow that was always meant to be there. When we start talking about time regeneration inside the body, it can sound like a spiritual metaphor, but Jacobo Grinberg approached it as a scientist. He wasn't trying to escape science, he was trying to expand it. His research sought to prove that human consciousness interacts with something larger, something that goes beyond what traditional instruments can measure. And to do that, he turned to experiments that challenged everything we think we know about the brain. In one of his most fascinating lines of study, Grinberg explored what he called brain-to-brain correlations. He placed two people in separate, isolated rooms and connected them to EEG machines to measure their brain waves. One participant would be shown flashes of light or specific visual patterns, while the other sat quietly in a distant room. What he found was remarkable. At certain moments, the second person's brain showed patterns that mirrored the first, even though no signal, sound, or electromagnetic connection could explain it. This strange synchrony hinted at something beyond ordinary communication, a field of information that connects minds at a level deeper than physical space. Grinberg proposed that there exists a kind of universal network, which he called the pre-space structure, or Syntergic matrix. According to him, our brains don't produce consciousness, they modulate it. The brain works like a receiver and transmitter that shapes the information of this universal field into personal experience. If that's true, it means that time, too, isn't an external force acting on us, but a pattern within this field that we interpret through our consciousness. When the brain is coherent, it aligns smoothly with this holographic sea of information. But when it's chaotic, filled with stress, fear, and noise, it distorts the perception of time. Moments feel heavy, days feel shorter, and our bodies begin to wear the strain. Grinberg called this understanding the Syntergic theory. It proposed that our reality is not built from physical matter, but from structured information, vibrations that interact and form what we perceive as space, matter, and time. The brain doesn't simply perceive reality, it co-creates it by interacting with this holographic field. Every thought, every emotion, every intention alters the pattern of interaction between the brain and the matrix. That interaction shapes the world we live in, including how we experience time passing through our bodies. In simpler terms, Grinberg believed that consciousness and time are not separate. The rhythm of our inner world, our thoughts, emotions, attention, can bend our sense of time and in turn affect the processes happening inside our bodies. This is why certain experiences, like deep meditation or moments of flow, seem to suspend time. They bring the brain into harmony with the field, creating coherence. The hidden technique that grows from this theory is about restoring that coherence. It's not complicated, but it requires attention, deep, deliberate attention. The first step is to turn inward and notice your own body. Most of us are so busy thinking about the past or the future that we forget how our body feels right now. But the body is your first clock. Its sensations tell you exactly how time is moving inside you. When you pause and listen, really listen, you begin to feel that inner rhythm again. The second step is to bring that attention into stillness. Not through force, but through quiet observation. Your goal isn't to stop your thoughts, but to reduce the constant time noise, the mental chatter that makes you feel like you're always running out of time. When you settle into stillness, your brain waves begin to slow down. Alpha and theta patterns become dominant, the same states often seen in deep meditation and healing sleep. In these frequencies, your perception of time begins to soften. The mind stops racing ahead. The body begins to synchronize with the present. The third step is to create coherence between the body and the mind. You do this by breathing deeply and rhythmically. Breath is one of the most powerful tools we have for aligning internal and external time. Every slow inhale and exhale sends a message to your nervous system, I am safe. The heart rate slows, the cells receive more oxygen, the mind and body begin to move in the same rhythm. In this coherent state, your internal clock isn't rushing to meet deadlines or chasing old memories, it's simply existing in the now. The fourth step is the essence of the hidden technique, using presence to allow time in the body to reset. When awareness is stable and the body is calm, the field that Grinberg spoke about begins to interact differently with your consciousness. The matrix, as he described it, responds to coherence. Your body receives clearer information from this field. Energy that was once trapped in the tension of the past or anxiety about the future begins to release. What follows is a renewal, a subtle but real regeneration of your internal sense of time. In this state, many people report feeling lighter, clearer, and even younger, not because they've reversed their physical age, but because their cells and systems are no longer vibrating with the strain of chaotic time perception. Time becomes flexible again. A moment can feel vast and full. The body's natural intelligence takes over, adjusting rhythms, balancing hormones, repairing damage that stress once caused. It's as if the body finally remembers its original tempo. But if this process is so natural, why don't most people access it? The answer lies in how we live. Modern life is built on a constant rush. We wake up to alarms, race through schedules, and fill our minds with deadlines, notifications, and noise. Our attention is constantly pulled outward. The mind rarely rests long enough to reconnect with the body's quiet rhythm. Over time, this creates a separation. Our thoughts move faster than our breath faster than our heartbeat, and our body begins to feel out of sync with life itself. We also carry the imprint of emotional time. Every unprocessed memory, every trauma, every fear of the future becomes stored in the body as tension. These emotional residues distort the inner flow of time, making us feel older, heavier, or stuck. The body absorbs those signals and keeps replaying them. Without conscious work, this pattern loops endlessly, like a record that skips on the same track. Grinberg's theory explains this beautifully. The moment your attention collapses into fear or memory, your consciousness distorts its interaction with the field. You disconnect from the universal rhythm and start living in an amen of time instead of the whole. That's why people feel trapped in their past or anxious about the future. It's not just psychological, it's energetic. Your brain is tuning into a narrow frequency of time, and the rest of your potential remains silent. The hidden technique is the way out of that loop. When you restore coherence between body, mind, and consciousness, your internal time stretches again. The brain's electrical activity smooths out, your heart's rhythm stabilizes, and the body begins to resonate with the larger field of information. You feel this as peace, clarity, or expanded presence. But beneath that feeling, something more profound happens. Your body re-enters harmony with the original pattern of time itself. To live in that harmony doesn't mean withdrawing from life or responsibilities. It means moving through time with awareness instead of resistance. It means understanding that the ticking clock on the wall isn't your enemy. The real clock is inside you, and you have the power to tune it. Grinberg's work reminds us that consciousness is not limited by seconds or hours. When you become aware of that, you stop chasing time and start generating it. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought you bring into stillness becomes part of that regeneration. And while science may still struggle to measure the matrix Grinberg described, the experience of inner time renewal is undeniable. It's the feeling of waking up after a deep rest, of remembering yourself beyond the rush, of realizing that time is not slipping away from you, it's flowing through you, waiting to be rediscovered. When you begin to work with this hidden technique, the first thing you might notice is a quiet shift in how you experience time. It's subtle at first, almost like the world slows down just a little, or your body feels lighter even though nothing outside you has changed. The sense of rushing begins to fade. You start to feel more in time, not constantly behind it or running ahead. This is the first sign that your internal rhythm is aligning again. It's as if something inside you has remembered the natural tempo of life. With that alignment comes a change in perception. You may begin to feel less weighed down by the past. Old emotional patterns that seem to repeat endlessly start to lose their grip. These patterns are often what keep people stuck in time. They're like frozen fragments of memory that the body keeps reliving. When you practice inner stillness and coherence, those frozen fragments start to thaw. Your body no longer needs to replay the same emotional sequence because your attention has moved from reaction to presence. As this happens, you might feel bursts of vitality that seem to come from nowhere. You wake up more energized, or your breath feels deeper without effort. Fatigue that used to follow you throughout the day begins to loosen its hold. It's not that the outer world has changed. It's that your energy, once trapped in mental noise and time tension, is now circulating freely again. The body is efficient when it's in the present. It's designed to regenerate when it's not carrying the weight of yesterday or the fear of tomorrow. One of the most beautiful effects of this practice is a return of body awareness. You start to feel yourself again, not through mirrors or thoughts, but through sensation. You notice the texture of your breath, the warmth in your hands, the subtle pulse in your chest. Each of these sensations is a sign that you're back in direct contact with your inner time. Grinberg believed that consciousness reveals itself through simultaneous observation, being aware of what you sense, feel, and think in the same instant. When you practice this, you enter a state where body and mind are synchronized. That synchronization is the foundation of vitality. Some people describe it as feeling younger, not in appearance but in essence. When your inner time expands, your perception of aging changes. The years feel less heavy because your body is no longer locked in the repeating loops of tension that make time feel compressed. The aging process, in a subjective sense, begins to slow. This doesn't mean you stop growing older, but you stop accelerating your own decline through stress and mental fragmentation. Time inside you begins to flow smoothly, and that smoothness becomes health. You don't need complex tools or long routines to experience these changes. A few minutes of conscious attention can open the door. One simple practice is to set aside 5 minutes each day to sit quietly. Turn off the noise, the screens, the notifications. Let go of the idea of time outside, the hours, the deadlines, the clocks. Instead, bring your focus inward and scan your body. Feel the weight of your hands, the temperature of your skin, the rhythm of your breath. Notice how your body carries its own sense of timing. It doesn't tick in seconds, it flows. Now begin to anchor yourself through breath. Breathe slowly, evenly, and with awareness. Inhale as if drawing light into the body. Exhale as if releasing tension into the ground. With every breath, your nervous system receives a signal to slow down. Heart rate decreases, cortisol levels drop, and your brain waves shift toward calm. The more you breathe with awareness, the more your body synchronizes with your consciousness. Time inside begins to stretch and soften. After a few minutes, bring your attention to one sensation in the body, perhaps the feeling of air entering your lungs. Then notice one emotion that's present, whether it's calm, joy, or restlessness. Finally, observe one thought passing through your mind. Hold these 3 layers of awareness at the same time: body, emotion, and thought. This simple exercise is at the heart of what Grinberg described as simultaneous observation. When all 3 aspects of experience are observed together, your consciousness enters coherence. The body, no longer dominated by a single channel of perception, begins to reset its time rhythm naturally. With regular practice, you might notice that your internal experience of time continues to change. Waiting no longer feels like suffering. The days seem longer, but softer. You might finish the same amount of work but feel less exhausted afterward. Time becomes elastic again, responding to your state of awareness rather than controlling it. This is the natural rhythm the body was designed to follow before the mind fractured it with constant urgency. Of course, there are common pitfalls that appear along this path. One of them is expecting immediate magic. Because the modern world promises fast results, we often approach inner work the same way we approach technology. Press a button, get a reward. But regenerating time inside the body isn't an instant process. It's a re-education of your consciousness. It unfolds slowly, like learning to listen again after years of noise. The more consistent your attention, the deeper the transformation. Another pitfall is trying to force the process through external means. People often believe that slowing time or restoring vitality can be achieved through diet changes, supplements, or new routines. While those can support the body, the regeneration we're talking about happens in awareness. You can eat perfectly and still feel trapped in time if your consciousness remains scattered. The true shift comes from inner attention, aligning with the field that Grinberg described, not manipulating the outer form. A third pitfall is distraction, the endless pull of thoughts about the past or the future. This is the greatest thief of inner time. Every time you drift into memories or projections, you abandon the present moment where regeneration happens. The mind will always try to wander, but your task isn't to fight it. Instead, each time you notice it wandering, gently return to your breath, to your body, to now. That gentle return is the real practice. It's how the brain learns to rest in coherence. The key is patience and self-compassion. Consciousness doesn't respond well to force. You can't bully your way into presence. The body opens when it feels safe, and safety grows from kindness. Treat every moment of practice as a small act of care for yourself. Even on the days when you feel distracted or restless, your effort is still tuning the instrument of your inner time. Over weeks or months, that tuning becomes more stable, and the changes begin to ripple through your entire system. As this coherence deepens, a profound realization begins to emerge. You start to see that time isn't just something that happens around you, it's something that lives within you. Your thoughts, emotions, and sensations are all moving in patterns of time, like currents in an ocean. When you master your inner rhythm, the outer world seems to respond differently. Deadlines feel less threatening. Stress loses its edge. You no longer feel like a prisoner of the ticking clock. Instead, you move with it, like a dancer moving in rhythm with music rather than fighting the beat. This transformation goes beyond personal peace. It touches something universal. Grinberg's theory suggests that when your internal time becomes coherent, you begin to interact differently with the larger informational matrix of reality. Your consciousness aligns with the broader field of existence, and the boundary between you and the world softens. The time within your body and the time within the universe start to move together, like waves merging into one current. In that state, creativity flows effortlessly. Insights arise at the right moment. Synchronicities appear, small coincidences that feel guided. This is not superstition, it's the natural expression of coherence between your consciousness and the field. The more harmonious your inner time, the more smoothly reality seems to respond. Life stops feeling random or rushed and begins to feel orchestrated, as if something intelligent is moving through you and around you. You also begin to understand aging in a new way. It no longer feels like a battle against time, but a dialogue with it. Every breath becomes a conversation between your cells and the matrix that sustains them. Each moment of presence infuses the body with renewed information. The mind's panic about running out of time dissolves, replaced by a quiet knowing that time is infinite when experienced from consciousness rather than from fear. And perhaps this is the real secret behind the hidden technique. When you regulate the flow of time within you, you're not only healing stress or fatigue, you're remembering your connection to everything. You're no longer separate from the movement of the universe, you are part of it. Time isn't something passing by, it's something pulsing through your being. In that recognition, even a single moment can feel eternal. So now, as we reach the end of this journey, let's bring everything together. The hidden technique we've been exploring, rooted in Jacobo Grinberg's profound understanding of consciousness, isn't about defying time, but about transforming your relationship with it. Grinberg believed that the body, mind, and the field of consciousness are not separate entities. They're woven together in a single fabric, where time itself flows differently depending on your state of awareness. When your attention is scattered and your mind is racing between past and future, your inner time becomes fragmented. But when you gather your awareness into presence, when your mind, breath, and body synchronize, you begin to regenerate the flow of time inside yourself. This regeneration isn't some mystical illusion. It's a real energetic recalibration that your body feels and your consciousness recognizes. You become lighter, more aligned, and more awake. The fatigue you once accepted as normal begins to fade because your energy isn't leaking into mental noise or emotional repetition. This is what it means to regenerate time inside your body. You're reclaiming the power that has always been yours, but was lost in the rush of external time. And the doorway to this change is astonishingly simple. You don't need special equipment, long rituals, or external validation. You just need a few minutes of awareness, 5 minutes a day to pause, breathe, and listen inwardly. Those 5 minutes are not empty. They're the most valuable investment you can make in your life's rhythm. In those quiet minutes, you step out of the mechanical world of clocks and into the living pulse of your own being. Start today. Sit quietly and close your eyes. Feel your breath entering and leaving your body. Notice one sensation, one emotion, one thought. Allow them to coexist without trying to change anything. This single act of simultaneous observation, what Grinberg called the key to consciousness coherence, will begin to synchronize your internal time. Do it for 21 days, just a few minutes daily. You'll begin to feel subtle shifts, a calmer nervous system, deeper focus, spontaneous joy, and perhaps even a sense that time itself is slowing down around you. The beauty of this practice is that it builds over time, gently but powerfully. Each moment of awareness becomes a thread connecting you back to yourself. The more you practice, the more your body learns to trust the rhythm of now. Stress softens, creativity returns, intuition sharpens, life begins to feel more fluid, more in harmony with what Grinberg described as the universal lattice, the field of information that connects all things. And once you begin to live from that awareness, everything changes. The boundaries between what you think is possible and what you can actually experience begin to dissolve. So let this be your invitation to stop running after time and start regenerating it from within. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it through your awareness. 5 minutes every day for 21 days. That's all it takes to begin shifting the internal mechanism that governs your energy, emotions, and perception of reality. Let yourself be the experiment. Observe, feel, and record what happens when you turn your attention inward instead of outward. And if this exploration speaks to you, if you feel even a small resonance with these ideas, then stay with us on this journey. Subscribe to our channel and be part of this growing community that's bringing Jacobo Grinberg's teachings back into the light, teachings that remind us we are not prisoners of time, but participants in it. Each video we create is designed to guide you deeper into this frontier where science, consciousness, and spirituality converge. Like this video, if you felt something shift within you, share it with someone who might need to remember that inner stillness is power, and comment below with your experience after trying the 5-minute practice. Your story might be the spark that inspires someone else to begin their own inner regeneration. Remember, the time you live inside your body matters. It's not just the hours you measure, but the energy you embody. Make that time regenerative. Let every breath remind you that presence is renewal. As Grinberg taught, consciousness expands when attention becomes coherent, so let your attention today be the beginning of a new rhythm, a new vitality, a new time that flows from within you. You don't need to chase life, you just need to synchronize with it. The moment you do, you'll discover that time isn't running out, it's waiting for you to come home. So take a breath, return to your center, and start regenerating time inside your body right now. If you want to continue exploring this dimension of reality with us, make sure to like this video, share your reflections, and subscribe to Awaken Synchronicity for more teachings of Jacobo Grinberg. Together, we're not just learning about consciousness, we're embodying it. And every moment you live in awareness adds more light, more presence, and more life to the time inside you.